So today, I want to put an end to Jeremy Corbyn's fake claims and clarify any doubts about our social care policy and the family home. My manifesto is honest and upfront about our challenges. It includes plans to strengthen the social care system with more and sustainable funding to cope with the long-term pressures caused by the fact that we are an ageing society. Jeremy Corbyn wants to duck this reality and play politics. But there will be 2 million more people over 75 years old in Britain over the next decade alone. Our social care system will collapse unless we make some important decisions now about how we fund it. That is why we have to act. And it is why, to give people security, we included in our plans measures to make sure nobody has to sell the family home to pay for care. And we also said that we would protect £100,000 of your savings. So however expensive your care, you can pass something on to your family. Let's be clear. This plan replaces the existing system, where people often get poor quality care and stand to lose almost all their savings and assets, including the family home. This plan addresses the worry people have when they have a loved one with a long-term condition and they don't know how they're going to afford to care for them. So these are good and sensible plans. They provide the beginning of a solution to social care without increasing taxes on younger generations. And I should say, we are the only party in this election prepared to face up to the reality of our ageing society and offer a long-term solution. But since my manifesto was published, the proposals have been subject to fake claims made by Jeremy Corbyn. The only things he has left to offer in this campaign are fake claims, fear, and scaremongering. So I want to make a further point clear. This manifesto says that we will come forward with a consultation paper, a government green paper. And that consultation will include an absolute limit on the amount people have to pay for their care costs. So let me reiterate. We are proposing the right funding model for social care. We will make sure nobody has to sell their family home to pay for care. We will make sure there's an absolute limit on what people need to pay. And you will never have to go below £100,000 of your savings, so you will always have something to pass on to your family. And what is Jeremy Corbyn's plan? He promises a nonsensical fantasy policy that can only be funded through massive tax rises on younger generations. In fact, just recently, he threatened to increase the basic rate of income tax for millions of people from 20 to 25% to fund social care. That tells you everything you need to know about Jeremy Corbyn's answer to the problem. The alternative is that he sticks to the status quo, which too often provides poor care and leaves old and vulnerable people having to sell their family homes. This manifesto, our manifesto, provides a better way. With it, I'm leading Britain, while Mr. Corbyn is simply scaremongering among the elderly and the vulnerable. It is a plan for a stronger union and a stronger Wales. A plan to respond to and deliver on the concerns of ordinary working people everywhere. A plan to build a country that works for everyone, not just a privileged few. It is a detailed programme for government, rooted in the hopes and aspirations of ordinary working people in towns and cities across the country. A clear plan to meet the big challenges we face together. Because unlike the other parties, we are being upfront and honest with the British people about the scale of the task we face.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Laura Kunsberg, BBC News. You have today again and repeatedly all the way through this campaign attacked Jeremy Corbyn for being uncertain and unsure, to use your phrase. But you have just announced a significant change to what was offered in your manifesto, saying there will now be the possibility of a cap on social care that was not in the plans that was announced just 4 days ago. That doesn't look so strong and stable, Prime Minister, does it? It looks rather like panic in the face of opposition. And can you tell us today where the cap on social care costs will be set to set families' minds at rest?
Well, first of all, what we are doing and what we set out in our manifesto is a long-term plan for actually securing a sustainable future for social care in this country. So I said, if you just look at the figures of the numbers, even the number of over 75-year-olds, that will be 2 million more within the next decade, our social care system will collapse unless we address this problem. And we can't leave it to the future. We have to start dealing with it now. That's why I want to fix it, and I'm going to fix it. And the plans that we set out were very clear in the manifesto. You can look in the manifesto, Laura. I think it was page 64 or 65. We said we'd issue a green paper. And of course, within that green paper, we'll be consulting on the details of the proposals and the principles that we have set out. What is important is that we have seen over the last few days Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party trying to scare vulnerable and elderly people by telling them and trying to suggest that they would lose their family homes to pay for their care. Nobody is going to have to pay for their care. Nobody is going to have, while they are alive, nobody is going to have to lose their family home. We will ensure that people are able to pass on savings to their children. That is proposals that we have put forward. I think it is the right way forward because it is the right way to deal with this problem that we all face. And we need to deal with it now. Emily.
Prime Minister Emily Morgan, ITV News. You say that you are prepared to take the difficult decisions, but you have just buckled under pressure over your social care plans. Isn't this U-turn really just a cynical attempt to stop voters leaving you in droves?
Look, first of all, let's be clear. We have not changed the principles that we set out in the manifesto. We're very clear about the principles on which this system will operate and will be based. What we have done is clarified that in the Green Paper, which will be a consultation document, we will have a limit, upper limit, absolute limit on the amount that people will pay for care. But the basic principles remain absolutely the same as when they were put in the manifesto and announced last week. That nobody is going to have to pay for their care while they're alive, that nobody is going to have their family home sold while they're living in it, and that everybody will be able, where they have that, to pass £100,000 onto their families. That's 4 times the limit that currently exists at the moment. This is a good arrangement. It ensures that people can pass savings to their families. It ensures they have the peace of mind, rather than sitting there month after month worrying about the money that's going out of their bank account to pay for their care and worrying about what's going to happen in the future. This takes that worry away from people, but it also ensures that we have a sustainable system for funding social care for the future.